Dropping a lot of body fat is one of the hardest things to do, and walking is one of the most effective tools you have to do it. And I know this because as a trainer for the past 10 years, walking is the main method I've used to help all of my clients lose literally thousands of pounds. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how long it's going to take you using only walking, using these charts that you see here, but show you some tricks to make it quicker and ensure you don't screw up your metabolism in the process. So let's go ahead and dive on in. We're going to start right with one of these charts. So I'm going to come back to this chart once we know more about your target body weight, which I'm going to show you here. So let's just skip over here. So I started with this example of 220 pounds, 30% body fat, but you can, plug in your numbers. Just look up the target weight body composition calculator, and you can plug in your own numbers. But these are going to give you I guess I'll explain how to fill it out real quick. So obviously put in your total weight, put in like roughly what you think your body fat is. In fact, if you Google body fat percentage pictures and then like female or male, you can kind of, pick what you're closest to. That'll just give you a good target range. I'm going to tell you more about this in a little bit, but it doesn't really matter exactly what you're at because it's going to be the same no matter what. So you don't even have to really look this up. You can still take this video and just apply these principles and you're going to find success. But plug in your target body fat. For men, somewhere around 15% is going to be good. And for women, somewhere around like 25%, 22% on the like that starts to get pretty lean, believe it or not. So women, have more visceral body fat, have more body fat that they, essential body fat, sorry, that they have to hold on to. And so their body fat's going to be a little bit higher. That doesn't mean you can't look just as lean and appealing as a male or whatever. So whatever your gender, doesn't really matter. And then here's something that I want to point out: predicted lean weight change. So you can, this is intended to be like a negative number, like in the process of losing all this weight, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, negative 10 pounds of lean mass. But I actually think with this video, I'm going to be able to show you how to not only keep your muscle, but build muscle in the process, which is going to be so much better for you by the end. You're going to love the way you look. And your metabolism is going to be safe because you built the muscle. And that's why at the end, I'm going to show you tricks to keep that up. Actually, probably the second half of the video. So with this example here, this person is going to get down to 190 pounds and they're only going to lose 28 pounds. That's pretty cool when you think about it, because if you think a person's 30% body fat, you'd think they would have a whole lot more to lose. But part of the reason this is so attainable is because you're gaining muscle while trying to lose body fat. So knowing this information, actually, let's just do another example real quick, just in case, someone might be something more like 280 pounds. And let's say they are something more like 50% body fat and they're targeting 15% body fat. And this is a little bit longer. So they might be able to add 12 pounds of muscle because it's going to take them a little bit longer. And so this person's going to have to lose almost 100 pounds, a little over 100 pounds. And so that, obviously changes a little bit. So let's go back to just something that's, let's just settle on some numbers that are a little closer to, maybe where the average person might be. And then we will, we'll go from there. So let's say they gain 8 pounds of muscle over that time. And so they're going to end up losing 50 pounds. So let's just take 50 pounds as an example. One thing that I want to let you know about is a person usually has more fat to lose than they know about. But I don't want you to be discouraged by that, because I promise the entire journey, the first 10 pounds, you're going to feel great. You're going to already feel more attractive. You're going to feel more confident about yourself. 15 pounds, 20 pounds, 25 pounds. It's going to be fun the entire way. So who knows where your journey ends? But it's going to be great the entire time, and time's going to pass no matter what. So who cares really how long it takes? But I'm going to, tell you about that here. So I love this chart. I love these charts to get a person wanting to take more steps. I think steps are more important than we give them credit for. Now there's 3 charts here. One's like if a person's above 6 foot, one's if a person's below 5'5". I'm just going to use the middle chart. They're all going to be pretty close. Again, it doesn't really matter the exact numbers, and human body is so complex. These numbers are probably already off to begin with. High and low, it doesn't matter. It's all going to average out. Okay, so let's say a person, see how that 10,000 is bolded here. I'm guessing like every 5,000 they bold them. Yeah, there we go. So 15,000. So 10,000 is where I would like a person at least aiming for. 8,000 if they have like a desk job is where they might hang out a little bit more. But a 200 and what did we use here? 250. A 250 pound person walking 10,000 steps a day is going to be 623 calories burned just from walking 10,000 steps a day. Now, I'm going to teach you how to get a little bit of extra deficit from your diet and like how to put all that back together. But this 623 calories they're burning there is pretty significant. So you can literally just look at this chart. Let's say a person's 200 pounds and they are walking only 5,000 steps a day. You'll see how low that calorie burn is throughout the day. And you might be encouraged to walk something more like 8,000 steps a day. Now, whatever this number is, I'm going to have you subtract it from 1,000 because being in a 1,000 calorie deficit, you're going to lose 2 pounds of body fat a week, which might not sound like a whole lot. At first, you're probably going to drop a little bit more because it's going to be water weight and glycogen out of the muscles. So it'll go a little bit faster than you think. But remember, if our goal is to keep muscle, we don't want to lose body fat too fast. So, and I promise you, you might not think, you might be like, no, I want as fast as possible. And, you know, I sympathize with you, but I promise by the end, you're not going to wish you had done as fast as possible. So, whatever, you know, you fall on here, take your weight and the number of steps you think you can get, and challenge yourself a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly what you get now. If you normally get 6,000, challenge yourself to 8,000. Go on an extra walk every single day. You can do it. But put yourself, you know, somewhere on this chart and then subtract that from 1,000. Whatever you're left with, that is the calorie deficit that you're going to try to get from your diet. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, getting the deficit from the diet. But that is what's left to get from your diet. So how you would calculate this, we can actually bring this up, 35. There we go. And they are 250 pounds. And I don't know, average male, 5'10", whatever your stuff is, your body fat currently, let's say they're 32%. And again, you're just guessing based off those pictures that you looked up earlier. So with moderate exercise, I like how they give you all of them here. With moderate exercise, you would be eating 3,155 calories per day. So you would subtract out 1,000 from that, and that would be 2,155 calories is what you'd be consuming every single day. Now, moderate exercise, honestly, a lot of people don't get that. They think they do, they don't. So let's say light exercise. So we're going to subtract out 1,000 calories from this. That's 1,800 calories a day. Okay, so now we're going to get into the how to apply this, and then this is where the money is. This is where you are going to be, you know, making sure to keep your muscle, making sure to build muscle, not screw up your metabolism, and speed this whole thing up. If you want to lose 12 pounds in your first month, I'm going to give you all of 5 habits that I run all of my clients through. They really love it. It's totally free. So what do you got to lose? You can download it right here or the link in the description. Because that might seem, you know, even with just walking, that was pretty good. 1,900 calories for that person walking 10,000 steps a day. So you're going to have to apply those numbers to you. But in general, again, you could just take what we're learning here and as you go, you can adjust it to yourself. So it'll make sense in a second. So first is going to be keeping and building muscle. Most important is going to be lifting. Okay, I know you can barely see that. But most important is going to be lifting. You got to be lifting weights in order to keep your muscle. It needs a reason to stay, because if you're, you know, in a calorie deficit and the muscle isn't doing anything, it's pretty easy to at least get rid of some of it. And a lot of people, they will lose a significant amount of body fat, and by the end, they have no muscle left. And so they feel skinny fat, and their metabolism is a bit screwed up because they don't have, you know, their muscle burning calories for them whenever they're, you know, existing. So they have to start eating less and less and less, and I'm sure you've heard that story before. The other part of it is protein. We're going to get back into lifting in a second, but the other part of it is protein. So you got to be eating enough protein, roughly 1 gram per pound of body weight of your ideal body weight. So if you want to be 170 pounds, try to go for 170, and I always add a little bit more. So let's say like 185 grams of protein. So back to the lifting. You should probably be lifting, if you can spare 3 times a week, that would be great, total body. Minimum 2 times a week, total body, 3 sets for each body part. That's back, chest, quads, hamstrings. I would even throw in glutes, shoulders, triceps, and biceps. You could skip the arms if you wanted to, because they're kind of getting at least fractional sets with the back and the chest. But I would want to hit those as well to keep as much muscle as possible. And again, as I showed you in that calculator, to build a ton of muscle. So that is what I would do in terms of keeping and building muscle. The second part is going to be the diet deficit. So getting the deficit portion from your diet. Now, it doesn't really matter, if you remember back to those tables, it doesn't really matter what you were left with out of that 1,000. Let's say it was 377. it doesn't really matter. You're just going to pick something and we're going to adjust based off your weigh-ins. So first is calories. You got to be tracking your calories at least for a while, tracking your food and your macros. One, to make sure you get enough protein, but two, to make sure that we can adjust to lose 2 pounds of body fat a week with our calories. So if you're eating 2,000 calories and it's just not quite going fast enough, then you could try 1,900 calories or 1,800 calories and then increasing your steps a little bit. And we're going to talk about that until you're losing 2 pounds of body fat per week. A person who has to lose 50 pounds, it's only going to take them half a year. That's amazing to lose 50 pounds. That is just amazing. Now I'd recommend diet breaks in there. And, we're not really going to get into that in this video, but, if just straight up timeline, that would take that person half of a year, 6 months. The other part of that is your protein. Now we already talked about protein. So why would I write it on another card in a different color? I color code them, by the way, just to help me keep track of where I'm at on my thing here. But, why write protein again? That's because the more protein you eat, I wouldn't take this too far, but the more protein you eat, the more calories you burn just because you ate the protein. It takes a lot more energy to process and metabolize protein than it does fat and carbs. Fat and carbs, especially fat, is very efficient at turning into energy. The carbs are, and the fat is very efficient at getting stored as fat because it's already in the form of fat. So it doesn't need to, change anything. Whereas protein, to metabolize it, takes a lot more energy. So you're literally going to be burning calories from eating the protein. For every 100 calories of protein that you eat, you use roughly 70, maybe 80, but I think it's closer to 70, 75 calories from that protein. So the more protein you eat, the better. You are literally going to feel more full, eat less of the other stuff, and I'm not saying the other stuff's bad, but you're going to eat less overall, and you're still going to be burning calories from taking in that protein. It's amazing. So the third part of this is from the deficit is recipes. All my clients, I recommend that they are making recipes. So I have recently, there's only 3 recipes right now, but by the time you're watching this video, hopefully there'll be more. And then every single week, I'm going to be adding at least 2 or 3. So I've made a cookbook completely free. It is for my email subscribers. So sign up for my email with the link in the description. I'll put the QR code here, so that you can get on the email list. You're going to get a free challenge, and it's going to tell you a little bit more information about how to lose body fat and everything. But that's not really, if you're here doing it for this, then the thing is going to be the cookbook. It is completely free. It's through a Notion web page. It's awesome. It looks good, I think. And it gives you literally the exact grams to serve yourself for a serving. You can cut it in half if it's too big of a serving or whatever. So recipes are going to be key for you. If you want a pizza, you learn how to make it in a healthier way that is higher protein. If you want lasagna, I have a protein lasagna. I'm going to be putting that in there. It's not in there yet. I just added a hamburger helper one. It is amazing. Now, is it the same as hamburger helper you're going to buy at the store? No, but it's 85% as good with a fraction of the calories. It's great. So learning how to make recipes, I hope I can help you with that, but you can at least get your own recipes, look up your own healthy recipes. If you start engaging and watching the healthy recipes that pop up, you could start by looking it up, and then they'll start feeding it to you on Instagram, the Instagram Reels, whatever platform you use. There's an entire niche of high protein recipes. I take those recipes, I make them a little bit better, and then I add them to my cookbook. Since I'm not selling it, I'm allowed to do that because not nearly all of them are my recipes 100%, but I always make changes to them. So anyways, recipes, it's going to help you. Okay, so now we got to talk about how to get your deficit from exercise. So that's kind of the heart of this video, is the steps that you're going to be getting that is going to get you the rest of the way to losing your 2 pounds of body fat per week. So first is, it doesn't just have to be steps. Increase your steps burn through incline. So that is cardio. It's a way I should just wrote cardio. So you're here for steps. That could be outside, sure. But what if you walked faster? You'd be burning more calories in the same number of steps. What if you walked on an incline a little bit faster? You walked on a treadmill and you walked at 8% incline, and once you got used to that, you walked 9% incline, and so on and so forth, without holding onto the handrails, so that you actually had to carry yourself up the hill and burn those calories. If you were willing to do that and do a good portion of your steps through cardio, this would become even faster because those steps would be higher burning steps, higher calorie burning steps. So this whole thing just gets added. Imagine you're eating more protein, so you're getting free calorie burn there. Imagine you are eating a little bit less in calories and you're tracking your food. So, you don't have to eat a ton less, maybe 200 less calories than you're used to eating or something like that. And then you're increasing the calorie burn of your steps because you're doing cardio. This whole thing comes together. And you're, building muscle and you're lifting. So that's also burning calories, not nearly as much as cardio, but through the course of time, you're burning 8 additional calories per day per pound of muscle. That really adds up. Imagine building 5 or 10 pounds of muscle. This whole thing just snowballs into you can do this. And this is the plan to do it. So with your steps, I would also try to increase them every week until it becomes something that you consistently miss. So let's say you do 6,000 and then the next week you try 7,000 and the next week you try 8. And let's say you miss 8 and you try 8 again the next week and then you get it. Then the next week you try 9 and you keep trying to go up until, let's say you reach, for me it's 15,000. I cannot, on a consistent basis get 15,000. So I get 14,000 every single day. So every week increase your daily steps by 1,000 and you will find your maximum steps, and that's really going to help you. For me, just to maintain weight, and I don't have a ton of muscle by any means. I think at my leanest, I would probably be like 180. So I don't have maybe leaner, or maybe less even to be at my leanest. So I don't have a ton of muscle. I'm working on that. Hopefully I'll have a lot more soon. By soon, I mean like 1 to 2 to 3 years. But still, I don't have a ton of muscle, so it's not like my metabolism is just going crazy. I have to eat 3,000 calories a day just to maintain weight. Now I'm trying to lose body fat right now, so I don't eat 3,000 calories a day, but I'm losing roughly 2 pounds of body fat per week, and I'm eating 2,250 very strict. I know it's 2,250 or really close to it calories per day, which means that's ballpark somewhere around 3,200 calories per day maintenance. I don't think it's quite 2 pounds a week though. So anyways, moving away from that, increasing your steps every single week is going to help you find that maximum range of steps. And if this is something you're really committed to, it's going to take a bit of sacrifice. At night you might not be able to watch Netflix. I'm about to go for a walk after this video. It is 7:48 p.m. As soon as my daughter goes to bed, I'm going to go for a walk. I've already walked today, because I only have, let's see here, I can show you actually. I only have 10,896 steps. So I need 4,000 more steps by the time I'm done cleaning the house and everything with my wife. I bet I'll have like 2,000 left or something like that. So anyways, now, should you go faster? I wanted to discuss this because I know that's going to be a temptation of a lot of people is they're going to want to go faster. Why not 4 pounds a week? Why not 10 pounds a week? I've seen some people post on Facebook groups that hey guys, I lost 30 pounds this past month. Like, you did not lose a pound of body fat per day. That's cutting into the muscle. So it's not really smart. In fact, 2 pounds per week is difficult to make sure you're not cutting in muscle. You really got to be on that protein. You got to be lifting. So that's usually going to result in weight. I'll put both these up. You're usually going to lose muscle and cost yourself your metabolism. And that's going to result in weight regain. I'm sure you have seen that in others. I'm sure you might have experienced that yourself, where a person loses a bunch of weight and then they not only do they gain it back, but they gain back more. And then with time, their muscle comes back and then, everything kind of levels out. They usually end up the same weight that they started off and nothing changes, because this is difficult and it's hard. And if you lose your muscle in the process, if you're rushing on the way there, you are going to fail. I promise you. I don't want to say that to discourage you. I want to say that slow and steady loses the race. Loses the race? Goodness gracious. Slow and steady wins the race. And I know that's cliche, but I said something earlier about I would recommend a diet break, and that's not really the place for this video. But I'll explain a little bit. I would highly recommend, you're not going to like hearing this, but it's what you need to hear. And you might enjoy it, actually. I would highly recommend going 12 to 16 weeks at most for a diet, and then taking about a third of that and going on a diet break. So it'd be 12 weeks on, 4 weeks off. 16 weeks on, 5 weeks off or so. Whatever that, looks like. And that's because you're kind of getting your body used to your new range of calories, used to your new body composition, increasing your calories so that the hormones that are stacking up while you are dieting, such as cortisol, don't just continue to, push higher and higher and higher, making you gravitate towards food. As soon as you start thinking about food the majority of the day, now at first you might, because you're like cutting back, but I'm saying, like, let's say you've been in this diet for 10 weeks and you start thinking about food all the time and you're lethargic and you don't feel like going to work out and your mood starts to change or your sleep starts to suffer. It is time to take a diet break And I know it's not fun to take a diet break. You want to keep going. But whenever the diet's slowed down anyway, what do you have to lose? You take a diet break, you maintain for 4 weeks at your new weight. And the entire time you're probably building muscle because you keep working out during that time. And then you come back more ready and more excited than ever. And then you can do it again and again and again until you reach your goal. And instead of suffering the entire time and eventually hitting that breaking point where you go all the way back up, you never hit that breaking point. You eventually just go down until you're happy with where you're at and you stay flat. And that is the ultimate goal.